Minimum move. Yeah!
Well, hi everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Two Half Squads. Is anybody there? Am I alone here? Oh,
Are we on?
look who decided to show
Oh,
up.
are we on? Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Jeff, how's it
Did you
going?
just get out of the shower? What's going on?
Yeah, just got out of the shower. Yeah. How are you doing, sir?
Trying not to be tardy. Well, I'm doing well. Well, relatively well. This drives my wife crazy. She'll ask me a question like that. How are you doing? And I'll say, what do you mean by how? Like, am I doing well? What do you mean by well? Like,
It's not very descriptive, is it?
well, what do you mean by descriptive?
Well,
I'll say, yes, well, my left leg feels good. My right leg, it feels a little heavy. And I go through all of the organs. Heart, liver function seem fine.
I'm feeling a little better since yesterday.
Yeah, what was with you? You heard you had the flu or something.
It may have been food, but couldn't leave the area near the bathroom.
Oh, I got you.
And then I slept for like 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon, and
23 hours. Wow.
No, 2 to 3.
Oh, okay.
And then just felt a little bit like chills. And then this morning, yeah, I'm pretty fine. Stomach's just a tad queasy.
You feel like it's okay to get together with your friends tonight?
And I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm thinking maybe it's something
Okay.
I ate or.
Just don't lick my lollipop.
Yeah, I'll stay far in my corner and we won't share food. So,
like we usually do.
So you had a rough day at work yesterday, but.
Yeah, rough day at work. I have a client. It's the first time and I'll knock on wood, and this is the actual wood I'm knocking on. First time in all these years, 29 years, that somebody's gotten a bad virus.
Yeah.
Not the stomach flu, but an actual virus that got into their computer and encrypted all of their files and all the files on the file server.
I hate, even though my files are not that valuable.
Yeah.
I still hate the idea that would happen.
So he's just getting through a couple of things, and then we're going to contact the authorities, FBI and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we got to decide what to do about his files. We can restore some from backup, but some were not backed up. So
yeah, it's
rough. It's been rough. It's been a rough couple of days. I'm starting to get gray. I don't know if it's showing.
It's starting.
Just starting.
Hey, so we have been doing the Sandman with our Thursday morning group.
Yeah, we have a Thursday morning, for those of you that don't know, a Thursday morning breakfast group. There's 4 of us. We've been meeting for 3 or 4 years now. And we often read something together, and we decided to read The Sandman, the comic book series.
Right, which is from the 90s, early 90s.
Yeah. 1990s, not the 1890s.
Yeah, and I have all the originals from then.
How about that?
You guys are reading.
Can I ask you a question? How is it you ended up with those? Did you buy those afterwards, or did you buy them as they came out?
No, I started pretty quick. It was like when the Batman movie came out in like 85 or 80s, late 80s. And
Yeah,
then I was like, well, I'll start reading some comics. And I wasn't into the superheroes. So I kind of found Swamp Thing like a horror comic. And
yeah,
then Sandman had started. It looks like I bought a few issues as back issues, but I got in pretty early on those. And yeah, I found them fascinating. This Vertigo line that DC put out was all kind of adult, well, as you've been discovering.
yes,
What's
to
been
my
your
delight.
your reaction to the adultness of them?
Yeah, my eyeballs bug out, and they actually touch the lenses of my glasses. I mean, yeah, it's
Well,
good. It's good stuff.
yeah, I was surprised I had forgotten how graphic some of those are in terms of
Yeah,
horror, like people stabbing their eyes out with picks and things.
yeah,
Pretty scary. As well as the sexual stuff and but they're known for being well written and having these characters. And are you finding that the
yeah.
characters seem more believable than like Batman and the Joker?
Well, I suppose so. Because, and I know the comic book, and I won't get into this yet, but I know the comic book draws from classic literature and archetypes of our psychological ego and id, and so it's very deep. It can be very deep.
Yeah, a lot
Say
of
that.
searching character names. Anytime you search one, you get oh, this is actually a early Eve figure in the Hebrew writings and maybe
Yeah, or
referenced in
Some Greek
Babylonia.
pantheon or something. Yeah,
Tons of Greek. Like I just finished the issue with Ishtar, was that her name? And she's a dancer now in a club. And she used to be worshipped as a goddess, and now she's
yes,
being worshipped. It's stuff on that level
yeah.
that really gets you into thinking, oh my, what would that be like today? And yeah, those kind of things. So, and it's
So uh, I my question for you is, I know you're really getting into it, and I always say, well, Dave's really getting into it because he's smarter than I am, and he's really getting into it because he has more time than I pretend to have or
mm-hmm,
pretend to not have, whatever the case may be.
mm-hmm.
And
Amen.
so, would you say that you get into it because you can spend more time with it, or could somebody read through these like on a surface level and still get something out of them?
Yeah, I think if you
Like
read,
me.
yeah, or me the first time, I wasn't Googling things then, you know,
Yeah,
to realize a lot of it is true people. I just thought he made up people. Um, but yeah, I think just reading it on that basic level, you get that dream stuff.
yeah,
And when you're
yeah,
younger, that's more cool. Like, oh, yeah, the dream state, what is it? And then is it symbolic of anything? And so each of the characters also have this, they are often in dreams. What would it be like to not have dreams? What is dream? And then versus all the relatives of dream, desire, and I'm really into delirium. She's quite interesting.
yeah,
Um, you know, destiny, those concepts. Plus, then just the quick stories about the people and the horror level. You can get
yeah,
into it on the horror level. You can get into it getting to know these characters. Even if you don't understand that the emperor in that one issue was an actual person in U.S. history. There's lots of
mm,
historical references, of course.
yeah,
Yeah. So you don't have to get all the levels about this. Do you believe the storyteller or the story and those kind of concepts, that we talk about?
yeah.
Yeah.
I've got some catching up to do to get up to date for tomorrow's
There's
meet.
7 issues for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah,
got 2 more to go. But they get simpler now. They're on this journey to find the brother destruction. And they're much more easy to comprehend and to read quicker without trying to think of all the symbolism. So these like a Gene Wolfe book, which is why Mike Rizzi got us on these, right?
yeah.
a lot about how story, myth, symbols inform our lives.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very good way of putting it. Yeah.
yeah,
More than we know. More than we know. Inform our lives more than we know,
yes, right?
for the
Yeah,
most part. Yeah.
yeah. And more so than what greatest game in the world, Jeff?
Well, I would say it's Advanced Squad Leader.
And now, of course, we have Slaughter at Ponyri, and we need to set up our interview with Pete Schelling on this one.
Oh, yes. Right. Yes.
So since you were busy, I recorded the other components already, but
Okay.
together, maybe we want to take a look at. So I think
Uh,
if I took pictures of these boards, I should screen share. We can just cover the boards before we get into the other stuff. So this is one of the boards. And so you see the railroads running through, lots of
I
grain
always love the
fields.
railroad. Yeah.
Yeah. I will jump in there. It seems like I can make
Ah,
it
there we
to
go. Very
that.
nice. Very nice. Oh, God, it's beautiful. Now, here, the train tracks actually have train cars on them, which
They do.
have I seen that before? I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, you haven't played it before, but you've seen it in Twilight of the Reich and Stalingrad games,
Oh, really?
and yeah, and the ones David Hungary, Budapest.
Oh, Budapest. Okay, they
Yeah,
do have trains on the track.
yeah, and the trains can
Yeah.
come in different types of destroyed or gutted,
Yeah.
like blowed up or intact. But here's something new. Do you recognize this symbol here along this edge
So we've got some symbol that looks like little scribbles along the hex edges.
in brown, right?
And yeah, and brown. So to me, it kind of looks like an aerial view of, it actually looks like a barbed wire to
Close.
me.
It is a regular wooden slat fence.
Wooden slat fence. Okay.
Yep, regular kind of fence. So now we have that fence, not a barbed wire fence.
I will include a link to the Home Depot wooden slat fence in the description. So, and if you buy that, the two half squads get money.
Yeah. So
So is there anything special about that fence other than some other fence? I mean,
no,
obviously, you know,
yeah, just an easy way to do fences. This
okay.
other terrain here, the lighter colored grain with the rows in it, is a blown up grain field. So it's like half stuff. Shooting through it is half the density of other ones, kind of like the
Okay.
light woods and other stuff. Yeah.
No,
Otherwise,
if owned by a poor farmer, apparently.
yes. Well, yeah, I'll read the notes on that later in the show. So when you watch
Okay.
it, you'll hear that.
It's a beautiful map.
But
Wow.
that is one of four. Let's jump to another.
Okay.
Okay, here's another map at a different angle, but
Yep.
this one is, I think, T, but I guess it doesn't matter. But we see the railroad continuing, right? Notice it's
I
all,
assume these maps can be placed next to each other.
yeah, they can be. I haven't looked at all of them together. One might have been a separate one,
Okay.
but
I'd like to see
yes.
them. I'd like to see them. When I come over, let's put them all on the floor. And
Yeah, maybe do a flyby.
yeah, exactly.
Dance around this a little bit. So they're really all flat. Yeah, you see a long fence. Yeah.
Yes, thankfully they're not at different elevations.
Yeah, and this hex here is part of the railroad. That's just a 3 hex railroad. So we'll find it on another map. Let's go out of this one.
Okay.
So again, you notice this is the only hill. There's this low rise level 1 hill through the board there that contains, so you see the railroads going around the area,
Yeah.
and then that hill, right? Some
So
rail
there, yeah.
cars
So the
on it.
railroad is up on an embankment of some kind.
Yeah, so otherwise this whole area is really flat. So you're not going to
Yeah,
get
which is
all,
sweet.
yeah, you're not going to get all those line of sights, figuring out
Yeah,
line hexes and everything
sweet.
there. So that is board Oh, I can see it up there.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I like a good 15 hex shot from an AFV. I
Yeah.
like that. I like the fact that there's not more of that is disturbing.
And so that's N, as you can see there. Okay, so this was that first board again. I just wanted to get down to show the city part portion here, which by the railroad near the bottom here contains there's the railway station. It's a 3 hex
Oh, there it is.
building.
Yes.
It's gutted. It has a special rule you'll have to figure out where, because the station area is so high, really high ceilings when you walk into like Union Station in Chicago.
Right.
So that counts as like a quasi level that doesn't quite exist,
Okay.
only along the sides. And then the
Only
regular,
along the sides. Okay. So it's like an
like going
atrium.
up, yeah, if you're going up a
Yeah.
stairs or a ladder or something. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's some special rules. So, yeah. So those are the 4 boards. And
Now
then,
that building in W44, the wooden building there.
mhm.
Yeah, I saw that on Zillow. It's for sale.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it said close to train, which I thought, walk to train, that's good.
Except for
Uh,
the,
it's bombed out. They put that kind of toward the bottom that it's bombed out and in a very bad area, but the price was good.
yeah. And the train sounds could keep you up at night.
Yes,
So.
yes, they would.
All right, so that is our boards. How about we just jump on into the video I got of the rest of the components?
Yes, let's see.
All right, taking a look at the components of Slaughter at Ponyri. Take a look. We got the quite a lot of counters here. So you're going to get a sheet of Russians and the first fire counters that are specific to support weapons, inherent firepower, main armaments, motion attempt counters in the purple, bomb machine guns, etc. It's a nice set to use for those first fire markers that aren't specific to each item within your stack. Indeed, some more encircled counters, gutted counters, labor counters. That is sheet 2 of the Russians. You're going to get a complement of Soviets there. Sheet 3 has some more Soviets. I think this set's also going to include some turn counters, a bunch more acquisition counters in some different colors. You can differentiate some more things with those. Close combat counters. A sheet of vehicles and more acquisition counters, the 5/8 inch larger ones for your tanks in the matching colors of the 1/2 inch counters over there. A couple more sniper counters, some mortars. One of the 8 sheets are your standard markers with some more axe and other colors. Quite a variety of acquisition colors here. Hand to hand, breakdown, coax, etc. Counters we have, but maybe you'll need some more to run these games. Maybe your old ones are faded. And then a sheet of the concealment counters, the Russian location, German location counters. More the acquired in green. Mine belts. You don't have any mine belt counters yet at this point in the game. So that's those there. Mine belt counters. Super. Germans. Got some more squads. Button up markers, blaze counters. Complement of some extra German counters. And German vehicles, snipers, again, the acquired counters, some fortifieds, fanatic outpost counters coming in there. Replacement 75M 19S counters for the Allied Miners Ordnance Note 30. I've been waiting for those. And the last sheet is 8 of 8, a lot of trench, debris, burnout wrecks. Again, these are a lot of things you have a lot of if you've got everything. But if you don't, then you've got more. And so if you don't, sorry, then you have a complement without having to buy a bunch more games. That's the intention of the whole thing. So you do have a selection of the usual force organizers for German Russians. The miniaturized versions of the maps are on the back here for map S, map C, and another scenario aid card, victory point tracks, turn counters, ammo shortage, GLR decreases, battery contacts, all on that sheet. Campaign game roster sheet as usual in any campaign game. The permission to photocopy map there, and map C, C and N, and third map S. We get 12 scenarios, SAP 1 through SAP 12, the 3 chapter dividers, the 8 counter sheets, the 4 maps, and the scenarios 1 through 12. SAP can do a deep dive on those later though. Because looking into the rules, you got chapter SAP, which is 26, says 32 pages over there, 26, including the map sheets, I guess. The miniature sheets, slaughter at Ponyri. So what are we going to find in here? Well, you've got your hand-to-hand rules going to be in effect here. Being able to declare additionally, defender may declare provided the attackers were all ambushed. It's a pretty common thing we see. They're saying no quarter for both sides by this time in the war in this location. Due to the superior reconnaissance, all the entrenchments and wire and railroads, Russian ones, may not be set up hidden, and entrenchments, mines may be placed in a railroad hex that also contains a shell hole and debris. There's a booby trap level C booby trap for the Russians. There's a new little fun thing called flame mines. Flame mines. And that states that all rules for AP mines apply to a flame mine, except as stated otherwise. A flame mine can only be set in open ground, dirt roads, shell holes, brush, or grain, only 1 per hex, and not in a hex with other minefields, Russian mine belts. Contrary to rule B28.41. A flame mine only attacks when a unit enters the hex, though not exiting the hex. A flame mine is eliminated after making an attack. A flame mine is eliminated after making an attack. So if revealed by searching, or if reduced due to high explosives or bombardments, etc., attacks versus unarmored units are resolved as a 12 firepower AP mine, and attacks versus armored units are resolved as if a flamethrower, as per the rule, basic to kill number is 6. Flame may be created as per B25.12, regardless of what type of units are subject to the attack. So the fire hits the hex. All units entering the hex as a stack are attacked using the same effects die roll. Flame mines are only available by special scenario rule or campaign game purchase and never take counter form. There's a fun little thing. Flame mines with an example there. And then the SAP 10 train OBA. It's going to be new. All OBA rules apply normally, except as stated otherwise. The only available fire mission is a 70 millimeter high explosive concentration. exception in the 6 hexes adjacent to the FFE counter. The FFE is resolved with a 6 firepower only, and those 6 hexes present no FFE hindrance. So train OBA is directed by an off-board observer at level 1 in a south edge hex recorded secretly. Battery access is automatic, and any extent of air die roll is halved. Blah, blah. Pre-register fire is not applicable. I think you have black or dark gray counters that we saw on our counter sheets that apply there. So a lot of the fun part of these is to take a look at the footnotes. So the flame mines footnote, among many varieties of minefields, the Soviets used at Kursk is a deadly type, the flame mine, which is activated by a tripwire and discharge a one-shot wide burst of flame toward the expected line of approach. Sounds a little like Claymore or something in Vietnam. And taking a look at the footnote for the train OBA, the Soviet 49th Armored Train Battalion employed 2 armored trains during the Ponyri battle. Although they could seem intimidating, their best effect seems to have been to distract the Luftwaffe fighter bombers from engaging other targets in the town. Armed with several tank turrets and light AA guns, these trains never came closer than a kilometer of the southern edge of the map, so we represent them as a modified form of OBA. Nice. There are assault engineers then for the Russians with the counters given for them. You know, we've seen them in other products, but you get a set of them here. And a new German sapper with a counter marked with the shovel and pick symbol looking like this here, of course, you know, on the counter. And the sappers are represented by 447 squads and distinguished by the pick and shovel symbol on the counter. Sapper multi-man counters or second line troops have an ELR of 5, have self-rally ability while in a minefield. Oh, because that's their job. They can't go out there and just get broken all the time and not get a leader in there to rally. So the note on the sappers also states, with extensive Soviet minefields, clearance was an almost constant activity for the Germans. By providing the sapper MMC, we can eliminate the need for the bookkeeping required by B28.8. The sapper ability to self-rally in a minefield will further encourage players to use them for their primary purpose. That is a good point. That is true. Inherent armor leaders here, each captured Stug 3 and Stug 42 is treated like it has an inherent 8 neg 1. So the note on this is the outnumbered German armored forces not only held their own at Ponyri, but generally managed to get the upper hand over the Soviet armor. In particular, the effectiveness of the Sturmgeschützabteilung 244 was nothing short of extraordinary. We attempt to simulate this by providing inherent 8 neg 1 armor leaders, including not needing a counter then to visualize the rule. So playtesting showed many players quickly remembered to account for the armor leader without needing a physical counter, which further cluttered up an already busy battlefield. But players are free to use the counter as a reminder if you like. And then the Russian airborne are represented with the parachute in the corner. Those are 458 squads and distinguished by parachute symbol. They're elite, have ELR of 5, and may deploy. So the note on that is, in the summer of 1942, the Germans pressed hard towards Stalingrad. Stavka converted 10 existing airborne corps into guards rifle divisions with great success, most notably around Stalingrad itself. The new airborne units continued to be created, including 10 guards, airborne unit divisions. These were initially deployed as ground forces in the Northwest Front in 43. Most were transferred by May to reinforce the Central Front, where the 4th Guards Airborne defended very successfully at Ponyri. The flexibility required by the airborne units is simulated by allowing these Russians to deploy, requiring a new counter type. And then we have a pack front. A pack front may be formed by setting up 3 Russian AT guns of the same type, caliber and barrage barrel length within 2 hexes of each other and adjacent to a 228 fire direction crew beneath a trench counter. So the guns may not set up in the same hex as another gun, nor in the same hex as a 228 fire direction crew. Guns that are part of the pack front may not set up in a building or rubble, may not use hip, but always set up concealed, regardless of terrain type, must be in place. And there's some more rules on that about moving them, et cetera, et cetera. The note on it is, like many of the Soviet tactics of the Great Patriotic War, the idea of massed anti-tank guns under single command was developed by the Germans. In this case, to combat the increasing number of T-34s and KVs faced in 1941-42. The anti-tank stronghold was then improved upon and expanded by the Red Army, specifically at Kursk. The use of these multiple gun positions incorporated AT ditches, minefields, pre-plotted artillery, what the Soviets called anti-tank zones. Yeah, debris rules are in here. New rules are provided in the Twilight of the Reich, very similar to those. And significant difference is that debris exists only if printed on the map and can only be created in play when a rail car becomes gutted. So let's take a look at this illustration. Is cool. There we go. The gun's all set up like that there. And then over here, you got your debris rules, the fortification, minefields, clearance rules, flame, printed rubble. The SAP map depicts numerous printed rubble, all of which are treated exactly of corresponding rubble count over there. Ignore the small parts of the artwork that go over the edges, etc. The Ponyri rail station has train station, which looks like this. 3 hex stone. There's also buildings and storage yards on the map. That's a different hex there. Railroad running through the hex for the storage yards. It's treated, the building's treated like a normal single-story house, except the ground level railroad cannot be used to enter the hex. And vehicle bypass movement along a hex side crossing a railroad depiction must pay the appropriate cost. The train station is a building that, despite being 2 levels apart, the ground level and the second level location in the same hex are considered adjacent. It's also a roofless building, and it's ground level and a level 1 quasi level and a roofless level 2 location. So some special movement rules for those. How to place a DC at ground level from a second level location is assumed to spend all of it placed in the quasi level. So it has this quasi level there represented going up and down the building. Gutted buildings are here, being roofless. The rules are here for them. Storage yards represent yards for machine and railroad parts and treat it like a lumber yard. Just the artwork's just a little different there for that. And you have water tanks, towers, railroad embankments that can run at an interesting angle across the hex sides, road block, ground, and then rules for the railroad stuff. Sounds pretty standard. Storage tank rules are here also. Light grain is a new rule that we find. And light grain is represented by the tan area with vertical brown lines. Vertical brown lines. It's a hindrance to same level line of sight, adds a half a modifier instead of a full +1. It's plus a half for every hex through it. Notes for the train station. This building was the tallest in the vicinity despite having only 2 floors. The ground level was quite high in light of the purpose as a train station waiting room. The height of the ground floor is represented by having a quasi location level 1, similar to that of a factory rooftop access point through which units move. So the roof was blown away early, and it was easy enough to adapt rules for roofless buildings in Ballard of the Guards and Red Factories. The reinforced concrete building was one of the few still standing after the battle. So it was the focal point of the battle at Ponyri, a struggle which saw its possession change hands repeatedly throughout the battle. So yeah, it's like, in a train station, you get that giant roof up there, or a really tall ground floor. Rail cars, Ponyri train station had many pieces of rolling stock. The rail cars, whether gutted, wrecked, or wrecked, provided good hiding places for snipers and pockets of resistance on both sides. So the new rail car rules provided in Twilight of the Reich are included here as well. And the light grain note 11.8. The farmland in and around Ponyri was characterized by the presence of vast grain fields of rye, wheat, sunflowers, and other assorted crops, including many orchards. Oh, yes, the sunflowers. During the spring and early summer of 43, the fields were in many places left untended, as Soviet army had required much of the population to dig trenches for the upcoming assault. Additionally, the frequent bombardment occurring during a battle had effect on the crops, causing orchards too to lose their yield and grain to be thinned out. Consequently, the types and conditions of the grain fields were varied in terms of height, density, etc. So we have used regular grain, the light grain rule we just looked at, and squared off brush to represent this variety. All orchards are treated as out of season on July 7, and then beginning July 9, all grain is light grain from the bombardment throughout the time. And a little rule on wooden fences. Common wooden slat fences were frequent presence around the towns. Adopting hedge rules for these fences was a simple way to simulate the limited line of sight found in and around a typical settlement. Wooden fences depicted as kind of slotted fence lines there. Yeah, you can tell it's a wooden fence. And that gets you up to the campaign game rules, which we won't cover typically on this show as we do not play campaign games and we need to. And so that is the rules, terrain, charts. So that's the rest of the components in the game.
Very cool. Very cool. That flame mine is very intriguing. I can't wait to play that.
Yeah, shooting fire like that. It struck me as like a claymore that in
Yeah, exact. That's what I
Vietnam
was
that,
thinking too, but with flame.
yeah, that's kind of neat. So we'll have to try some of those.
Nothing like a new way to be destructive and hurt people.
Good thing they're only cardboard people.
Yeah.
Shall
Yeah,
we
that's very cool.
take a listen to Dave Mareske that recorded at March Madness?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Let's hear you.
Right.
Go, Dave. Go. Dave and Dave.
All right, here we are with Dave Mareske. Once again, you'd heard Dave talk about his father in the war, along with that was Paul, right?
Yeah, and the 10th Mountain Division.
And the 10th Mountain Division. Yeah, that was a great episode. And so Dave's at the tournament. You also are director of the tournament with Dan and
yeah, there's the three of us that plan the tournament every year, and then one of us gets to play in the tournament on every third year. So this is my year to play, and so I'm currently 2-1, and so we'll see where that goes. So I lost my first game, won the next two. So
do people accuse you of cheating because
no? How can they do that? It's all a dice game, so you just see the dice play, right? True. Although my dice have been very good the last two games.
it never hurts.
Right.
The eternal conversation we have, it never hurts.
Better to be lucky than good?
Yeah, well.
Is that the
it's
conversation?
Yeah, of course, we always know that the similar people keep winning. So there is the good portion, but yeah.
Right.
And I have an opponent, Mike Lemke's getting back in the game in the Chicago area, and he's very apologetic when he rolls low. It's almost hilarious. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. no, I'm sorry again.
Yeah, we have a joke that you're not supposed to say I'm sorry. So there's
okay.
Yeah. There's usually the downcast look though. So
and I have heard people exclaiming out loud, boxcars again.
Right.
But yeah. So this is your year to play. So and then you who did you play?
I played Matt Zajac the first game, and he won on the last die roll kind of thing. Actually, he had a hip squad that I couldn't find, and so that was he had the line of sight on a bridge or something like that. So
you had to take the bridge, or
I had to control the bridges, but if he had line of sight to one of the bridges. And I couldn't find that last hip squad,
which also feels like cheating, although I do it every time I can with the hidden guy in the upper level.
Right. Exactly right. And I thought I counted them all right. I thought there
Oh,
wasn't one there. And so, but
okay.
I miscounted, obviously. So,
Oh, okay.
yep.
I thought maybe you ran out of time to get pushed to that
No,
extra hex.
I went right by him.
He was smart enough not to shoot.
Right, right.
Yeah. Okay.
And then played West Vaughn the next game, and
West
then
Vaughn.
Jeff DeYoung today.
Okay. All heavy hitters. Yeah. Really, at the tournaments these days, it's like 50% of the guys are guys who play a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody has all the stuff, so I don't know why they go to tournaments to win stuff, but bragging rights, I suppose.
Right.
So
Yeah. We do, the ones who come in with all this stuff. So we get the new scenario pack though. I got mine and grabbed some extras.
So we did a nice little tournament pack this year, and so that was just 6 scenarios. The ASL club here in Kansas City has been known to kind of do some real meaty scenarios at times, and so this was really it's always frustrating and hard to play test all those meaty scenarios. So this one we actually got out on time and was able to get some Rick Reinish did some help with the artwork and stuff, and from down in Texas, and then we got it published, ready to go.
All right, and we will have one copy. I grabbed an extra copy for prize from watching the show, but I have no idea when we're going to put that out with which episode.
So, and they're available or will be available on our website, Kansas City.
$10?
No, 16. $10 is the tournament price. So if you come to the tournament,
I got lucky.
And then and we'll have them up on the Scenario Archive as well for PDF downloads.
Right, and that would cost the same, or
it costs the same, because we get $10 from Scenario Archive, but they keep some money for running their site and stuff.
And everything. Yeah. We're all one big community. That's kind of a cool thing about it. So.
And they've been a great partner in getting the scenarios out there, because we have a lot of our unpublished or out of print stuff on Scenario Archive as well.
Yes.
So,
does that include the pack? Did you guys do the blind pack?
Double blind pack?
Yeah.
I don't know if that one's up there or not.
Because I've been looking for that. I'm willing to run that, even maybe in miniature, depending. But I'm willing to run that for like Jeff and home, Jeff and Mike or somebody. I'm good at being the DM or the guy who accommodates players rather than has to play. And I thought that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
I've played a couple of them. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. You set up 2 game boards with a
basically
blocked view. And then my job would be to, when they see each other.
Yeah.
That could be fun. But, and then in this, did you play test all of these in here?
I did. I play tested all of them.
Do you have favorites? I know we shouldn't say favorites.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the names of them to remember them.
Yeah, right here.
So one of my favorites was the Return to Noville. So that's a American attack on a village, and then the other one that was a lot of fun was the Harkakosi assault, which is this Hungarian assault in kind of a orchard-ridden village type stuff, and they had to be pretty aggressive to get to take the hill and stuff like that. So and that one probably went through a lot of changes through playtesting. Every time we playtested it, we did something else to change it. Because
and again, that's because things don't. I mean, it's historic. It's not the historicity of it,
right? Yeah,
like the setup is pretty accurate from
the
beginning. You don't find like, oh, we forgot a house.
Yeah, do we need to add another squad, or do we lessen the time or something like that? Getting the balance
more.
So we find that every battle is unbalanced, right? Every battle has a winner. So how do you make it fun for a game that everybody has a chance? And so, yes, eventually these Hungarians took the hill, but they have to do it in 6 turns, right? For the game. And that's the fun part, right? That's what makes it a game and makes it a dice game, because, you roll enough 12s, you're not going to make it.
But that's always true. Yeah, I've had a lot of games coming down to, the last roll.
Right.
You would think that just wouldn't happen with all the variety of stuff
Right.
and all the different ways this game can play out. And then, yeah, lately you've had several kind of come down to or close enough that
Right.
you're like, dang, well, I guess this is probably balanced, because we played it to this level.
Right. Yeah. And if it comes down to the last turn or even the last close combat, those are really exciting games.
Yeah.
And those are the ones you dream about at night.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if I did something different, I should have done this.
Okay. Now, do you actually dream about ASL?
I obsess about it to a point where I might not fall asleep right away or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've had that. I was even thinking about, well, I don't know if I just wake up randomly at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
in my
right.
old age, but then you think about like, oh, I'm recording tomorrow. Oh, I hope I had that gray cord I need to connect the machine to the
Right.
computer.
Did I bring that along?
Or I'm screwed, But I did talk on this show. I'm sure I'll do it again. But I was playing Mike Rizzi and I was at Japanese on the roof of a big building, holding off the Chinese with a machine gun, and I kept throwing heroes on it. Like there were a couple heroes or a leader and some heroes on it, and then fighting and fighting, and then I had a nightmare. Well, it was a dream at first. That I was there.
Oh, wow.
On the roof, and it was like I was in a movie, but it was ASL. There weren't hexes, but it was like live.
Right.
And then a banshee, I don't know why, came shrieking up behind me and grabbed me and hurled me backwards, and I woke up like screaming. And that
Wow.
was like my most avid ASL.
Well, I don't do that.
It was bizarre. And I'm just wondering because like I knew he needed to remove me from that roof, or he couldn't get across this area. And somehow this banshee did it for him. But
Nice.
Yeah, so good pack. And these are larger, you're saying. I'll do
These
my
are not,
review.
these are tournament size scenarios.
all tournament size.
All maybe 6 turns.
Yeah,
I think
that's
one is a 7-turner, but it plays pretty fast. And
Yeah.
so
Are they in the game in the tournament today?
they are not in the tournament, I don't think.
People are not picking their own.
Correct.
Today?
We Dan Best does all the tournament selection.
Yes. Now I talked to Dan, but we didn't quite talk about that. There's a different nationality.
Different nationality for each round. So I think they're on the PTO round right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
And next round I think is East Front. And then whatever and British maybe at the end. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and
So-
and then do you do like the Open used to do, pick from this number of scenario options?
So he picks 5, and usually there's 2 in there that are perfectly balanced scenarios that have over 20 planes. And then there's
Okay.
a classic scenario usually in that mix. And then there's 2 newer scenarios. So maybe just published, could be like a Lone Canuck scenario or new MMP release or something like that. So
Yeah.
there's a new scenario that may have only 1 plane or something like that, and so nobody knows.
So then it's up to you to figure out
Right.
how well you can
Right.
assess a scenario.
Right. And actually, the newer scenarios get a lot of planes.
Play tests.
Yeah. And that's really good because I think players want to play scenarios that they haven't played before, and certainly it matches up better when you're have an opponent that hasn't played the scenario and neither one of us has played it and stuff like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's not not that I remember all those lines of sights and things like that, but I know there are people that go to tournaments that have figured out lines of sights and things like that. And
they've practiced the game before
Maybe,
coming
yeah,
and
yeah.
hoping that that's the one they can
Right.
get to. I couldn't imagine.
I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, that would take a lot of time to play them like that. So, well, good. So you're 2-1, and then now your son is here.
Yeah, my son Griffin, and he just started playing. He grew up with me playing ASL. Never had a real interest in it, but since he's out of college and he wanted a hard game to play with some of his friends, so I said, "Well, you should try this one." And so he actually likes it. He's doing the starter kit stuff, and so he's in the starter kit tournament that we have running here. That's 4 people. Yep.
And are his friends playing too then?
No,
Yeah.
no, he doesn't have any friends in Kansas City that play. So he lives in Kansas City, but but he has some friends from college that have played with him. So
Okay.
yeah.
That are further away at the moment.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it would be hard to.
But it's kind of nice having keep it in the family and
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody I can give my kit to right at the end, right?
I'm talking a lot about the end lately. I don't know why. There's nothing happening that I know of.
Right.
Well, I lost my sister. I remember me talking about on the air, but maybe that brings the mortality closer. And she's was only 62. But I think too, my wife wants things out of the house, so that's always kind of like, where's this going to end?
So I've never had the in the house ASL problem because so I run this retreat center and the Hollis Renewal Center.
Yeah.
And so we have a conference room.
Oh, you run it.
I'm the executive director.
I'm sure we talked about this before.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's just a retreat center, church groups or
any group. We do a lot of nonprofits actually, and a lot of families have their retreats there and stuff. But we have a little conference room off the side of our office, and we have a whole shelf dedicated to ASL because our ASL club is a really good donor to our retreat center, and the individuals in the club are donors to our retreat center. So
all right,
we hold a lot of club meetings there, and
club meetings, not this tournament.
We have had the tournament there once, and the complaint was because we don't have a whole lot of overnight space at the tournament at Hollis, and so we couldn't house everybody there. So people had to drive to a hotel to stay overnight, and they didn't necessarily like that because you could just walk up to your room in between games or something like that, or if the game goes late, or
that makes sense.
You want to drink a beer while you're playing.
And now Scott Mullins, Grumble Jones, is he local?
No, he's Tulsa.
Yes, Oklahoma. Yes. Okay. My memory is so bad. Well, there's so many people to meet, and then 360 shows too.
Right.
Kind of starts to become a blur. I can't even recognize the titles of the shows anymore. I used to know them all. Like that's a title. Now, kind of like scenarios. Did you ever have where you could recognize all scenario titles?
Not.
From
that's not my bandwidth.
Okay.
So I can recognize it once I see the scenario card. I go, oh, I think I played this before. But if you say me the name, I don't. I mean, other than the big ones, right? Other than
the big one. Yeah. I used to know. I used to recognize like all of them from the journals and annuals, and now it's like there's just so many. But I think Scott had made a scenarios with using the board of the retreat center.
So if Scott did, or we made one.
It was in the pack.
It was in the Hollis Partisan pack.
That's right. And Dave Timon and I played that scenario.
Okay, that was my creation. I created that scenario.
Yeah, we liked that. We played it. We flipped sides and played it again. Yeah, fun. Yeah,
you have an hour.
Right. We didn't, and so we could play it twice.
Right.
And then I think Scott made the half squad Halloween. Have you ever looked at his Halloween stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
those amazing write-ups with the videos on his webpage. Yeah. And so we had the zombies, and I think it was that board.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think that was right.
Yeah. So for some reason, I thought I was going to see the land that I gamed on today.
Yeah. Well,
and
you
then
realize up there. You're only 20 minutes away.
Okay. Well. So, wait, this is at the hotel. Oh, right. I'm not remembering correctly. Do they always play at the Hollis thing, or is that the club? So the club. Yeah, fantastic. Well, excellent. What are you playing yourself game wise? I'm stuck in Budapest with Dave Timonen.
Oh.
I play every scenario, so we got 4 left, and they're bigger.
Not really. Not gone through stuff like that before. So I have 2 pretty regular opponents. I play Paul Works every week. Right now we're playing Hill 621.
Okay.
And that's actually set up in a game table at our office at Hollis. So we have a tabletop for that and covers it up.
Okay. Is Paul with Hollis also?
No.
He's with the military.
Yeah, he's DOD or whatever.
Right.
And then my high school friend that I have, he's gotten back into ASL. We played squad leader when we were in high school.
Oh, good. He's
And
coming back.
He's been back for a few years now, and we're working through the winter offensive packs. So I think we're on the fourth one right now. So
Yeah. I was trying to keep up with the action packs for quite a while.
yeah,
With Jeff. So if we go 10 years ago on a lot of the shows, we'll be talking about that pack for a year by the time
Right.
he and I would play through whatever it would have. And some of these are so large now. So you're doing the winter fences, which I had started with and then fell off at some point. Those are nice because they're smaller.
they're pretty small. Yeah, they're kind of more tournament size
Yeah.
scenarios and
quicker play, some good variety.
right.
They look pretty good too.
Yeah, they're fun.
I think I just reviewed a pack on the last show. We looked at the new game from Bounty Fire, Mannerheim.
Yeah, I just got that.
Yeah.
So haven't really dove into that one yet.
Yeah.
That looks really fun.
Yeah, it's got a lot. It's got the 20 scenarios again, which
or more, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's like 40 or something like that.
Oh, could have been maybe 30. Well, I don't know.
I don't know. It's a lot of scenarios.
During COVID,
not as many as Blood and Jungle, but it's up there.
In COVID, I started Blood and Jungle, right, with Mike Rizzi. Yeah, that's what we were doing. We got quite far because we were home, and but never finished those either. Right.
So, do you like playing Vassal or playing face to face better?
Face to face.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and we're blessed to have so many gamers in our area. That I'm too many. So like Rich always wanted to get a game in. And I was like, well, I'm running D&D in big groups. And currently I'm doing ASL with just Dave Timonen. So you'll hear his name a lot on the show, the Budapest stuff. But yeah, Jeff wants to start again. And we're going to start a 3-player from Budapest and have Mike Rizzi join. Stubitz and those guys were all in the area. I used to run the Paso Club. So face to face, and only during COVID did we do the remote.
Right.
Yeah, totally. So, any future plans? Well, they talked a lot about the World War I.
Okay.
Now, are you all
good
in on that too?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm
play testing.
We did a lot of play testing early on, and then we're probably going to get back into that, but rules editing and things like that. So yeah, we're hoping to. So I think Paul's retiring next. I probably said this.
No, he didn't.
Okay,
that one.
well, he might be retiring next year, and so we're not going to do a pack next year.
That he said.
Okay, and we're going to try to focus in on getting the World War I thing out in 2 years then.
Yeah.
For March Madness 2027.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which has been like decades before. We said it. We said it like 10 years ago or something, like we're going to do it in the
time goes by fast.
It does. And we're, just volunteers and stuff. So it's hard to manage all that time and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I just designed a game in high school. I discovered the metal fantasy miniatures at the local hobby shop, not knowing about D&D or anything. Looked at these things and went, they look like chess pieces. I should make a game. So I designed this game with squares and everything in a river, and it's got these 2 towers. If you get up there and break the magic thing, the other pieces, 2 of them lose power, and a dragon on an island. And if you take the little raft to it, defeat it, you get the chain. And I had a little chain I made. And I have, being retired, my goal was get this published, and I play tested it with multiple guys, ASLers, D&D players. Every single person has just said, this is great.
Oh, cool.
I had a couple of D&D players just stare at that board like chess, trying to win that thing for 3 hours. I was like, you guys, this should play in an hour and a half. They're like, shut up. And that's the first time they played. So what have I done with it since then? Nothing. So my goal is to get to Gen Con. They told me, bring it to Gen Con, sign up for a slot, and all these game people show up.
Right.
And you do a demo. So that's my goal. So I'll get that done. You guys will get World War I done.
There we go.
And we'll have accomplished our life's missions.
Right.
Well, anything else you want to share?
Yeah, it's
we
good.
Get back into the game.
Yeah.
And you're not playing then. You finished your morning game?
We did. I kind of diced my opponent.
Okay.
Fairly severely.
Okay. That's severe. What turn out of 6? Did you get to 5?
We get to got to his 4, I think he was attacking, and
Yeah.
lost in a kind of a significant close combat. Kind of blew his personal morale check there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And then he's
and
like,
he was down to one wounded leader too. So
yeah,
he
it's hard to rally everybody.
right.
And lunch is coming up, so
Yeah.
I didn't realize there's this big gap between the morning game and then a night game at 7.
No, so we do a raffle at 4 o'clock,
4 o'clock.
and then the other game should start right after that.
After that,
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
by 4:15, 4:30, they should be
Yeah.
going again.
but there is a nice big long
Depending on
lunch.
when people finish, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they're all still going.
Yeah. So I imagine they would be done by 2 or 3, and then they'd have an hour to get some food and
a dinner or whatever
Yeah.
we call that. One meal.
the one meal
Head out
Tournament.
to a restaurant.
the one meal tournament rule,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because man,
That's the other nice part about being at the hotel is they are serving breakfast and stuff like that. So
I snuck in and I ate an egg and I didn't pay for a room. I think that's illegal. I stole an egg.
actually, so what they so as we're paying for this space, they invited everybody that's signed up to the tournament to have a breakfast.
Oh, I
So
didn't steal an egg.
You didn't. You
Well,
didn't
that's
steal.
less fun. It was more fun when I thought I stole.
Well, see, now that you know, so you can still think that, right?
Yeah, well, then I should have grabbed more food.
I don't tell many people that. so.
Okay.
Well, but now it's out in their world, and it's forever out
and
there.
if it is now. And if a blast coming down. Thanks
Yeah,
for having
Thanks
me.
for coming. Yeah.
And we'll enjoy the rest
And
of our day.
if people need, so we have 3 players staying at the retreat center. So they because they can go back there and it's quiet and so we have 3 players staying there and and so we have a few beds there, but not enough for 30 people. But
Okay,
Yeah.
but if we contacted you or
yeah,
because
absolutely.
she won't be here next year, we have to get a hold
Yeah.
of. That might be more fun for a group traveling
Yeah.
together and not all into playing in the tournament forever. I mean, every game. you
Right.
know. It's kind of freeing to not. I can walk around and look at all the different games.
Uh-huh.
And be really free and not tied down to that mental, fun but challenging
Right.
way to spend.
Well, the
the
nice
day.
part about this tournament is on Saturday, you can just come on Saturday and you can play mini tournaments and just have a 1-round mini tournament and you play for a prize. And that's kind of just part of the fun.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So
So-
great
All right.
talking to you
Yeah.
again.
Good talking to you, Dave.
And we'll get back into there and see what's happening.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we're back. So that would finish off the show, eh?
Very fascinating. It was nice that I keep thinking how nice it was that everybody took time to talk to you and contribute. Always like to hear from our fellow gamers living
Yeah.
the life.
And we have many more of those to go. So that'll carry
Good.
us through the summer, I would think. So,
Very nice. Yeah.
yep. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, already. Wow. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you and I'd like to hear from you. Give us a call, send us a line. Remember, in the meantime, remember to
Roll low,
and rally well,
but not
But not
when you're
when you're
playing us.
of course.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Don't do it, boo boo.